What's up, everyone? I'm BB Forky. I'm going to be alongside Aaron Dobb. Is it Dobby or Dobb? I actually don't know.
It's a Dobby.
Dobby. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. We learned stuff today, but yeah, Devolution Derby is going to be doing a great run of this long Puyo game. It's very interesting, and Aaron will kind of talk you through the beginning of it right now.
Yeah, so you might know Puyo Puyo, or its reskinned versions that came out in the US called Kirby's Avalanche or Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, where it's a competitive puzzle game. You're dropping in little blobs, trying to connect 4 of them, and they clear, and then they make chain reactions and dump garbage on your opponent. But this is not a competitive puzzle game. This is a sort of RPG puzzle-solving hybrid game about Arle, who is on a quest to find some ingredients to make some curry. This is a remake of a Game Gear game that was called Nazo Puyo, where Nazo is Japanese for puzzle. And this one has a sort of retooling of the original story, which is what we're going to be playing. It also has another story focused on Roux, but we're going to be doing Arle's story today. And yeah, I guess when we get into it, we'll see exactly what's going on here, because this is not the Puyo you're going to be used to. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is a whole different game. You kind of like, I'd say you learn a lot of things here, but it's more just like problem solving for the most part. I believe you said there's 4 worlds in total that he's going to be going through.
Yeah, there are 4 worlds and then a final boss battle after the 4th world.
So yeah, each world's gonna just get progressively a little bit harder, trying to solve the different scenarios that are on your screen, and they can be different from points in times. But I'm pretty sure Dev has a lot of the patterns memorized and gets through it in a breeze.
Yeah, and it's also worth noting that the sort of sequence of puzzles is not exactly fixed. It depends on the order in which you do things, in which you fight opponents, and whether or not you get a game over, because this game has an experience points and leveling up component that doesn't really affect the character much, but it does affect the puzzles that you get. So in addition to just like memorizing the solutions to the puzzles and doing them quickly, you also kind of have to route efficiently so that you get fast puzzles and avoid slow ones. And it looks like we are off. So here's the first level. We're out to the market. We're going to go talk to these shopkeepers, which are vegetables, and buy vegetables from them. So this is the first puzzle. The first set of puzzles is just 2 puzzles that are super easy. You just clear out all the Puyo. Just like that. You connect 4, they disappear. Real simple start.
Yeah, for sure. Just like basically the tutorial phase of the game, getting you familiar if you're not used to a lot of the Puyo mechanics. As you can see on this stage, it's showing you the garbage Puyo that are on the screen at the bottom and how you can connect next to them and get rid of them.
Right. And this one you need to clear 8 at the same time, not including garbage Puyo. As you can see in the bottom right, the puzzle goals are written in Japanese, so you either need to know how to read Japanese or memorize them. And up here is Skeleton T, one of my favorite characters in the Puyo universe, who does not know how to rotate Puyo. And despite the fact that Dev did rotate a Puyo there twice counterclockwise to drop it faster, which is a technique you see normal Puyo players doing in competitive play, it's very appropriate that you don't need to rotate to solve Skeleton T's puzzles.
So you saw there in that most recent puzzle, I'm sure Aaron can correct me if I'm wrong, but the goal there was to clear the yellows only, so that's why he dropped the red vertically instead of on the left side.
Yep, exactly right. So this one you need to clear 3 different colors at the same time, just like that, which you do by making a mini dam there. This one you need to make a 2 chain, so you see the greens will pop and then the reds will drop and make a chain reaction. You just need to make a chain with length 2 to solve that puzzle. And we are done with race stage, and now we're on to the boss of this area, Draco Kentaros. This one you got to clear everything, but you got to sort of move around that obstacle there so that the blues fall evenly. Now, what the screen flashing there was all about was that Arle just leveled up. If you see those little orbs that are filling up blue around the left side or the right side of the screen when you solve a puzzle, those are your experience points. And when all the orbs are filled, you will get a level up. And as I sort of mentioned before the run starts, the leveling up doesn't affect your character, but it does affect the puzzles you get. Besides, I think, signature puzzles, which each character has at least one that are set at the beginning, the puzzles after that are randomly selected from a pool that are based on your current level. And again, it's consistent as long as you fight the opponents in the same order and don't take a game over. But it is random, so there's a lot of trial and error and experimentation with the routing to see what route gets you the fastest puzzles in a very convenient order. So this one you need to make a 2-chain. You need to be careful with puzzles like that because sometimes just dropping pieces in an obvious way that clears them out is going to make the puzzle impossible to solve. And there are also lots of puzzles like this. I was just talking with Forky about this before the run, but a lot of these puzzles are super hard to see how to solve and can kind of feel like if you were doing this casually, there'd probably just be a lot of trial and error. And the game sort of allows for that because you have a lot of chances to miss or to fail a puzzle before it kicks you out with a game over. Which is nice for speedruns for a reason we will see, I think, in Area 3 is when that comes up, but I'll mention more about that when it happens. Here you can see Dev using a speed tech called wall kicking, where he rotates once, slams the Puyo into the wall, and then rotates a second time and drops. And this allows him to very quickly and precisely place Puyos in columns 2 and 5 without having to time the stop, basically. And look at that, the big old 36 clear. And this one is shaped like a Puyo. It's super cute.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't have even noticed that if you pointed it out.
And that's Sukedo Tara Dun. You might recognize him if you played Puyo Puyo Tetris. He's a fish that talks about surfing. And this is Jan, the genie. And unfortunately, Dev misplaced that Puyo. It happened again. So as long as you don't fail too many times, the only penalty that comes with failure is that you have to watch that approximately 4-second long animation of all the Puyos dying. But he gets it this time. That's fine. The other thing that's important is that your health will refill every time you level up. So now all those mistakes have just been erased and Dev's in no danger anymore.
Am I correct in assuming because this is one of the older Puyo games, he was like inclined to make those mistakes because you have less time to react when putting down Puyos? As in, they'll lock in faster. As if you're used to Puyo Puyo Tetris, it's pretty generous. Like you can stall forever.
Yeah, absolutely. This is the Super Nintendo, so the physics are based on the first couple of Puyo games where. And just like classic Tetris, movement is a lot more restrictive.
Oh yeah, for sure. A very common theme with a lot of older puzzle games is you don't have a lot of leeway to do some of your moves.
So something about that puzzle, the goal was to clear 12 at once. And if you just did nothing, right, everything would have cleared. And you might think, oh, that's easy. That's to solve the puzzle. You just drop the piece down and everything clears and you're fine. But no, if it says you have to get a 12 clear, you have to get exactly a 12 clear. So the solution to that puzzle was inserting that Puyo so that it breaks up the clear and doesn't clear more than 12 pieces, which is super interesting. So this is Mandrake, the boss of the second area. For this one, we need to clear everything out. Which is pretty easy to see how to do. You just clear out the middle, make the square there, and clear the reds. This one you need to make a 3-chain. Another pretty simple one as long as you're careful not to pop the reds early. This one is also a 3 chain. For this one, you need to drop the green there to split apart the yellows. That way, the yellows don't clear early. So these two puzzles kind of have you figure out that you kind of need to sometimes interrupt Puyo so that they don't pop early in order to make a chain.
I think that's like one of my favorite things that comes from this run, because it's nothing that you see in any other Puyo game. You don't really have options to set up things like that with Puyos hovering in midair and inserting something underneath.
Yeah, the game really, especially in Roux's story, but it really takes the sort of interesting things that this setup allows and just runs with it. So, full disclosure, I don't really know everything about the story beyond what I said at the beginning, but I don't know why in the world we are no longer at the market shopping for ingredients, but are now in a castle. And we're not even like getting ingredients from the people in the castle. Like, after you fight an opponent in the first couple of stages, the little sign next to their stall says "sold out." But now, as you'll see after we beat Witch here, it'll say Batan Q, which is what the Puyo characters say in Japanese when they lose a fight. So this one you need to clear 3 colors at once. And again, this one's a trap. You have to be careful not to extend that clear so that you clear all 5 colors at once, otherwise you lose. So that last piece you actually don't need at all. It's just there to trick you into thinking that you need to do more than you have to. This one you need to clear 24 at once. Again, this is one of my favorite techniques to do, even in just regular Puyo, is the dam. Just like that. Make a horizontal line to separate a bunch of vertical rows and clear them all at once. Unfortunately, that was misplaced, so it needs to restart. There you go. This one you need to make a 2 chain, and you need to be very careful to pop those reds early, unlike the similar puzzle we saw before. Otherwise, you'll get a 3 chain and fail.
So I don't know how familiar you are with Roux's portion of this game too, but do you know the main differences between Arle's and Roux's?
All right, so the biggest difference between Arle and Roux's story is that while Arle wants to get ingredients to make curry for herself, Roux wants to get ingredients to make curry for Satan, whom Puyo lore fans will know she has a huge crush on. But in terms of gameplay, Roux's puzzles involve a lot more like tricky acrobatics with the Puyo and sort of winding them through pre-constructed mazes in order to get them to the bottom of the screen before they lock. It's a lot harder, and even still, Dev has expressed interest in learning that and routing that through as well. We just haven't spent any time on it yet. One thing I want to point out there is that Dev skipped that puzzle and did that on purpose because that puzzle takes forever to resolve. It's like a really long chain. I think it's 8 or 10 links. And we don't have time for that. So this game has an option where you can just skip a puzzle, and it counts as a loss, but it'll deal you a new puzzle in its place. And we still have to solve another puzzle in its place. It's just that we get a different one. And that different one is going to be a whole lot faster than the one we just skipped. And as I mentioned earlier, we have so many like chances to just like lose puzzles or skip them because this game is generous about that we can exploit that all we want. This opponent, his name is Sasori Man, I think. He just has one puzzle, and you just have to hold down to clear it. So you just walk up to him, hold down, you win.
Those are the best. They try to deceive you more than it actually is, but it's fairly simple.
And this opponent is Nomi, who is the boss of the area and is a flea. And he's so small that the game needs to have an arrow on screen pointing you to where he is. This one you need to clear 14 at once, which you do by breaking the reds and making that cool little M shape with the greens. This one you need to clear 15 at once, and you'll do that by making 3 columns of 5, just like this. Nice and simple. Alright, so this one you need to clear everything out. And we skipped this puzzle before, because as you can see, it just takes a while to resolve. But we're going to do it now. And why would we do it now? That's because when you clear a puzzle once, it will never show up again. So now we don't have to spend the 4 seconds it would take to skip that puzzle over and over again looking for better ones. And we are done with this area. Now we're on to the 4th and final area before the final boss, which is Satan's stage. Our first opponent here is Zo Daimao, the Elephant Lord. You gotta make a 5-color clear. Nice big rainbow, just like that. Oh no, they messed us up a couple times. This one you have to clear the blues out. The goal is to clear all the blue Puyo. Unfortunately, this puzzle kind of feels bad because after you clear all the blues, you have to watch these reds clear too, and there's not really any way around that. Even though you solved the puzzle, you have to watch the rest of it resolve before you're given the go-ahead to move on. This one you need to make it 12 clear all at once, which means you got to use all the reds just like that. And this one, the goal is to clear out the nuisance Puyo, the clear ones in the bottom corners. Just need to make a couple chains. This one's a little slow, but it's not that bad. And that's that. And that's that for him. Next, we're on to Minotauros. This first one, you got to clear the reds, and you've got to slide that blue Puyo in just like that so that the reds don't fall. Otherwise, you're going to have no way to clear out those bottom 2 nuisance Puyos. And unfortunately, that was misdropped there. But we're still fine. So you see we get rid of 1 there. Get rid of another one, and now those 2 blue Puyos are touching the 2 remaining nuisance Puyos. We can get rid of them. Easy. Alright, this one you need to clear everything, which means you gotta drop those reds and yellows in there in a place where they won't just get isolated and left alone at the end. This puzzle's pretty easy. Just gotta clear everything. This one you need to make a 3-chain, and this is the first of a kind of interesting trend of puzzles where you have just 1 color plus a nuisance Puyo and you need to make a chain, which is an interesting little twist on the formula. This one you need to make a 5-color clear, and watch the left column here. He's going to drop that there, and even though there are 4 purples there, it doesn't clear because one of the Puyos is up off the screen, and then it drops down 1 row and then it clears, and you need to know that fact and exploit it to solve this puzzle. That's called the ghost row, or a ghost chain, which is a technique you see sometimes pop up in like normal Puyo play. So it's interesting that they're using that in puzzles for this game as well. Another level up, we're up to level 14. Here's a super long puzzle again, we're going to skip it. Do not want that anymore. Unfortunately, Dev slid that one a little too far over. Gotta make a 3-chain here. And this one is a 17-chain, and we do not have time for that.
Oh my goodness.
We are just going to not solve that puzzle. And luckily, in the route we have, we skipped that puzzle, and it will just happen to never come up again. So there's really no benefit to solving that one, as opposed to solving any other puzzle in the whole game. And the goal here is to clear out the reds, so you just gotta drop the reds in place up there, and then clear out all the stuff underneath them so they fall down. This one you gotta clear all the reds out. Just gotta clear out the right side so we can break the stuff underneath it. Similar puzzle idea to the last one, just actually a little bit easier. And this is another easy one. We actually have to make a 2-chain, and one of the links is made for us already. That's the one we solve instead of that 17-chain one. Alright, so that's Shezo done, and now Satan, the boss of Area 4. This one's a bit deceptive. You need to make a 2-color all-at-once clear, and it looks like there are tons of opportunities to do that, but it's actually kind of tough. You need to set it up just like that. This one you need to clear everything, and you need to just slide it in under that overhang so that you make this chain. It's another one that's a little bit tricky, but at least you're just sliding it against the wall and don't have to stop in the middle of the row. I suppose I should point out that if you've played any of the localized English versions of Puyo Puyo, they have renamed Satan to the Dark Prince for understandable reasons. So that's what you might know him as, if you've played those. And there's the 3-color clear to solve this puzzle. 3 puzzles to go. This one is super fast, and this is the reason why we skipped that one that we've skipped a few times. You just gotta clear out the nuisance Puyo like that. Real easy, 1 link, resolves quickly. That's the kind of puzzle you want to see in a speedrun. So in general, that's one of the interesting things about this run, is that the experience route matters so much. You gotta skip puzzles where it makes sense to skip puzzles. I mean, you gotta try not to take a game over, but that's very unlikely to happen. And look at that 63 clear. I love that one so much. Dad's been experimenting with a couple different routes, and one of them doesn't have that puzzle, and it makes me sad. All right, now here we have the final battle against Roux. I mentioned earlier in the stream that she has a big crush on Satan and wants to make curry for him, so I don't know this for sure. I'm just speculating, but I believe what she's trying to do here is take the ingredients that you've gathered back from you so she can make curry for Satan. I love that the double level dam you have to make to solve that one. This one's a bit annoying because you have to split that first drop, and the animation of it falling into place just takes forever.
I think that's just like the best part about this game, is it's like all this creativity in solving puzzles coming from multiple puzzle backgrounds, the both of us over here. It reminds me a lot of a Puzzle University from Puzzle League.
Yeah, it's very much like a Puzzle University mode, but I think unlike sort of speedrunning that, there's definitely a lot more speed tech to speedrunning this. Like with Puzzle League, you just kind of have to execute the solutions fast, and that's all you got to do. But here, you have wall kicks, you have double rotates, you have like really strict timing in terms of rotating and sliding into thin gaps. So it's a very different speedrun, even though it's a similar kind of game.
Now I'm curious, I know it has this main mode and you can also play as Roux, but are there any other additional modes in this, like maybe making your own custom puzzles to let others try to solve?
I believe there is a puzzle editor in at least one of this sort of spin-off series. I'm not sure if it's this one. Oh, unfortunately he missed that. This puzzle is like really easy in concept, but doing it fast is so hard because you like slide it down, and if you're a little early, you might be tempted to just tap down again, but then you'll overshoot. It'll drop too far, and then you can't win. Oh, here's that 17 one again. I guess I lied, and that one does show up. It's because, as I mentioned, Dev's been experimenting with a couple different routes, and in the route that I'm used to, the one that he was doing before this route, it doesn't show up again, but in this one, I guess it does show up once more. And that's that. Roux has been defeated. We have defended our ingredients, and time will be called when the fade out happens here. Also, look, Carbuncle ate the curry we just spent so much time gathering the ingredients for. What a jerk. And that's time. 22:04 is a sweet time. That is
Yeah, for
really
sure.
good.
Very good run by him. The world record for the game's 2109 by Koji Luigi, and uh,
Mhm.
I'm not sure. Like as you mentioned, Dev was looking at trying to route the Rulu run as well. So is this community pretty small for its size? Like,
Oh,
is it
it's
just
extremely
basically
small.
those two?
It's basically, yeah, right now just Dev and the world record holder that run this. I've been considering picking it up myself because I know Puyo well enough, and this seems interesting. And I've
Yeah,
watched
it's
a
a
lot
pretty
of Dev
cool
running this
run
game.
with the tech that you mentioned, and if you're just looking for something different and want to stick with like Puyo series, this is like definitely something right up your alley. Like this is a game I've never played before, but I believe Dev bought it at AGDQ this
Mhm.
year, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I was there when he booted it up for the first time, and like not knowing what to do, he picked Rulu's story first, and then we're like, all right, this is easy so far, and we're like instantly bodied by one of their like really difficult maze puzzles where you just gotta like snake a Puyo through a whole complicated screen, and we're like, what the heck is this? We didn't know we were basically playing hard mode. So yeah, as Dev said in chat, play this game. It's fun. Like whether or not you decide to run it, it's super fun casually, just to try and solve the puzzles.
Yeah, for sure. And as someone who wasn't too familiar, like I've seen Dev only run it a couple of times. Even with it all being Japanese text, I was able to look at most of the goals and pretty much figure them out. And of course, there are runs to your for your resources out there. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it. I might pick it up soon as well. Who knows?
Yeah, as I mentioned at the start, this is a remake of a Game Gear game, and I think there were a few other games in the series that came out later on other systems. So there's quite a bit of content there if you get into this series. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, this was a great run. Very happy to see a great time in marathon for this. It's like literally 12 seconds behind his PB. That's great.
Oh yeah, for sure. Definitely a really good run from him. But I guess that's probably going to do it for us. I believe we got Super Metroid on deck. Always a pretty good run to watch afterwards.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks, Dev, for the run. This was super fun to commentate. And I'll see y'all later.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. See you later.